My name's Evan Spence, this is Chasing Cars, and today we have the 2025 Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid. You can see it right there. Today we're here to see if it is any good off-road, and I'm just going to give a little bit of opinion to see how it compares with other plug-in hybrid utes in the market, because this is now the third plug-in hybrid four-wheel drive ute on sale in Australia.
Chasing Cars, honest reviews of your next car.
Brought to you by
Budget Direct.
So normally I'd start at the front of the car and talk about the engine and look at things like alternators and stuff, but I'm going to start at the back of the Ranger plug-in hybrid because there's a couple of key things I think it does better than the competition, starting with a mechanical latch. My goodness, how hard is that? Both of the others are electronics, so what happens if your battery goes flat or something? It's really good to see, just a simple solution, well damped, nicely weighted, full marks there to Ford. Now what else can we see? Well, something we can't see is the spare. Not like the Great Wall that has the spare in the back. It is mounted underneath traditionally. So they've made it fit with the battery packs coming down the side. Got some tie down points. They're a bit jittery, but again, once you've got them tied down, they won't be too bad, definitely not the worst. Got a drop-in liner, which not my favorite thing to see, but it's going to give some protection. Would be better to have a spray-in liner, but you can always do that later on, I guess. Part of the parcel with having a plug-in hybrid ute is being able to power accessories off this vehicle. So what have we got? 3.45 kilowatt max, 15 amp output. So two of those, that's enough to power a bit of gear. We've actually had some jaffle makers and massive commercial pie warmers and things running off it. You could run angle grinders, tools, things like that. So tradies and campers, this basically destroys the dual battery system. You don't need a dual battery system in this vehicle. Great to see. Decent sized tray, enough room to fit, I dare say, most pallets. And you've got a little recess at the back too, so you really can slide a bit of gear in here. Tie down points on all corners, always good to see. But that's about it really. We do have this pretty cool sailplane design that allows you to store longer items. Again, good for trades or good for your paddle boards, kayaks, things like that as well, potentially. A lifestyle vehicle and one for trades as well. Gonna have a little look around in the engine bay. Again, I'm not a mechanic or an engineer, but I like poking around and seeing how these things tick. So first tip, to open the bonnet, it's on the passenger side. So there's a little trick for you playing along at home. There's a little lever down there and that'll open the bonnet. We got gas struts, let's find out. Can't even open the bloody thing. All right, no gas struts. You have to lift it like your grandparents did. Well, there you have it. It's a 2.3 litre turbocharged petrol EcoBoost motor, similar to what you'd see in the Mustang. It's not the same, but it's a similar lineage. So a couple of things you notice straight away. The air intake's up nice and high, but it is forward facing. I do know that Ford sealed this in quite well, and it is rated to 800mm. And I believe that. It is actually a good system, despite the fact it might look a little scary. And what else have we got? So there's some hard intercooler hoses. That's kind of different. Normally they're really soft, so something to mention. There's only one belt, one auxiliary belt, and that looks like it's driving a water pump. You've got your start battery over here. And what I like is on the opposite side, there's a bunch of space there for accessories. You could put, not that I advocate this, an air compressor, they get a bit hot. You could put a second battery perhaps. There's heaps of room because it's not that big of an engine. It's a pretty complicated looking engine though. I don't think I'd like to work on it, but again, I'm not a mechanic, so I don't have to. It certainly makes a fair bit of power. We're looking around the 700 Newton meters combined, and it moves the vehicle along just fine. So you do have some switch panels inside this vehicle up the top. I believe there's 6 or so blank panels wired in, so you can wire in your factory accessories without having to butcher it basically and run cables through the firewall. That's not unique to this vehicle, that is unique to the Rangers though, and it's pretty cool to see. But essentially this is a Ranger. It's just a plug-in hybrid version. It doesn't feel much different to a Ranger. And I'm sort of undecided at this moment if it's worth the investment over just a regular diesel Ranger, but time will tell. This is only the launch event, so we're just here to have a look. I'm not going to pass final judgment just yet. I am impressed, and if you want a plug-in hybrid, I think this is probably at the pointy end for the Australian market. This is probably going to do a lot of things for people. Let's see what it looks like inside. Have a bit of a sit and rummage through the technology. There's a lot to talk about. Inside the 2025 Ranger PHEV or plug-in hybrid, however you want to say it, there's not a crazy amount to talk about, as I alluded to before, because it is essentially Ranger, which is what they wanted. They wanted to bring the lineage, the DNA of the Ranger into the plug-in market. What you do get though is this little button here that says EV, and that's enables you to switch between auto EV, EV now, EV later, or EV charge, so you can charge whilst driving. Very, very simple to use. Yeah, obviously you've got this screen here which has an incredible amount of information. I'm looking at it right now. We can add a trailer, set your default trailer modes. You've also got your brake controller there, which is going to beep at me saying it's disconnected. Of course, there's no trailer. So if we go into vehicle, there's a couple of things you can muck around with here. So if we look at controls, you've got your off-road mode here. That gives you cameras. That shows you your TPMS, gives you access to hill descent control and activating your rear diff lock. That's all in here. There's no physical switch for a rear diff lock. It's all controlled through the screen. So if you have some electrical issues, you're not activating your diff lock. What else have we got? If we open this cubby, you've got a 12-volt socket here. You've got your four-wheel drive activation, 2 high, 4 auto or 4 low, electric park brake, cup holders, wireless phone charging. It's a really nice place to be. It's a very comfortable cabin. Also, I should mention there's your 6 auxiliary switches up here that we spoke about from the engine bay. Steering wheel's definitely not as chunky as the Shark, but it feels a little bit chunkier than the Great Wall perhaps. You've got some storage up here, storage here, as we spoke about before, to open the bonnet, it's down there. Comfy leather seats. It's just really well set up. I can't help but think whoever designed this vehicle was a human being, not an engineer or an accountant, and I'm down for that. Let's check out the back seat to see what features you get, how much room. I'm nearly 2 meters tall, 196 thereabouts. Let's see if I fit in my driving position or if it's for the apprentices only. Back seat of the Ranger, crucial shot. So let's open up this seat to see what you get. I don't know why they've done this. So there is a bit of space. This is just soft, so you can just cut this out. The point of what I want to check for here is if you could fit a slimline battery. Now I can't really confirm or deny just yet because of this cover, but I reckon you'd just be able to do it. Maybe a 100 amp hour slimline battery. I'm sure people have done it already. I just like to point these things out because I think that's a great place to put your secondary battery system. Not that you'd really need it in this car because you've got the plug-in hybrid setup. So, I mean, maybe if you want to run a little fridge off a 12-volt system, you could do that. But realistically, I'd be looking at the flaps down there. Let's jump in. Side note too, these door handles here that you have to squeeze, I think are a terrific idea, to the point that when I jump into another vehicle, my muscle memory automatically does that. So I think that's cool. Let me know what you think. I reckon it's cool though. We've got a small map pocket, not much there. All right, heaps of leg room, especially with that cool design with that concave, so my knees fit in perfectly. Headroom, not a problem, just touching fully extended, so it slopes down pretty well. You've got these weird hooks here, I don't know what you'd put there, but anyway, they're there. Folding handle, always good to see, so you don't hit your head. And that's about it. Just enough thigh support. I did open this up before, there's not much storage underneath. But what I was talking about before is you have, this is a 10 amp inverter, so you can plug in your accessories, you can run your fridge, all that sort of stuff. It's not gonna be as efficient as 12 volt in my opinion, but it'll definitely get the job done. When you're talking about a plug-in hybrid, something like a fridge that draws 1 or 2 amps an hour, it's minuscule power draw. It's not even thinking about bothering it. Got a USB-C point, a USB, and 2 outlets here. So there's not a lot going on. It's not crazy fancy, but what it is comfortable and practical, and I dare say extremely hard wearing. All right, first drive in the 2025 Ranger plug-in hybrid. Battery experience like? Simply put it into drive, handbrake off. Now we've got these EV modes. I currently have it in battery charge by the engine. So let's take off. We're in high range four-wheel drive. We're about to do the off-roading loop. All right, so we're on the tracks. So straight away, the Ranger has always been a very good riding vehicle in the scrub and on road. This does feel a little bit firmer because we're not sure about the spring rates. We'll have a chat about that with the engineers to see if they've changed that. It's definitely firm, definitely getting a little bit of head toss, so the compression side of things is firmer. But she's well planted, especially just in all-wheel drive. Looking forward to hitting some harder tracks. This car does have all-terrain tyres fitted to it, so it should be pretty capable in the rough stuff. But sadly, there's no rock mode. There's only a rear diff lock, there's no front diff lock, and just regular range traction control, which isn't the best, I must say. So automatically, this vehicle is not class leading compared to the Great Wall Cannon Alpha when it comes to off-roading. But I'm hoping what it can deliver is a smoother package all round. So as mentioned, no front diff lock, only basic traction control, so we'll see how that goes. Another thing I want to point out for the off-road is this: you can't actually fit a canopy or an aftermarket tray to the Ranger. Now, I think that's a massive letdown. It's a silly mistake from Ford, because you're not just saying don't do it to avoid your warranty, you're telling red-blooded Australians to not modify their car, and that's just not going to gel. Whereas a Great Wall Cannon, go for gold. BYD Shark, no, that's going to avoid your warranty. So Ford didn't go straight to say this will avoid your warranty, but they said they would advise you don't do it, which means they would void your warranty. So off-road modes, we've got 4H, 4 low, 4 auto. We also have a twist dial here, so we can cycle through normal, eco, sport, tow haul, slippery, mud ruts, and sand. So we'll leave that in mud ruts because that's what we're playing on. We're out at Lerderderg at the moment, and I'm looking forward to experiencing these tracks. So let's go through some controls. Brakes feel glazed. They don't feel very dynamic at all. And acceleration, that's pretty good. That's not bad. It wasn't the greatest when we had it cold this morning. So while the BYD Shark takes the cake in terms of power and probably an all-round overall package, this is absolutely going to dominate it when it comes to off-roading, even without that front locker. But what I want to determine, is this worth the extra money over the Great Wall Cannon? You know, that's 67 grand. This is coming in, I think, 71 grand. It's a little bit more. Are you getting a more refined package that's been developed for local conditions? I kind of have to say yes. This is going to be worth the money. Something else I like is the screen here, which has an off-road mode. So you can control things like your diff locks and stuff like that, which is on currently. Turn that off. You can also see where you're going with this front view camera. It's good technology, because I tend to find myself sort of staring out the window with my tongue hanging out my mouth, where I can just be looking at this screen and let that do the work. So we've got tyre pressure monitoring as well, hill descent control, pretty standard stuff. It really does just feel like a Ranger, which I believe that was the brief. They wanted a Ranger that could tow, and they wanted one that could be more efficient than any other diesel offering, because this is a petrol. This is petrol powered 2.3 litre motor, similar to what you'd find in the Mustang, the EcoBoost. So it's the biggest petrol powered engine in this class of now 3 vehicles, and it's also the most expensive. So are you going to get what you pay for? That's what we're here to find out. All right, we're in low range four-wheel drive now. First thing I must say is the four-wheel drive selection does not engage very quickly. It doesn't. It's not a painful process, but it is certainly not a quick process. And we're doing some pretty steep little rocky sections here. Gotcha. All right, I've just got some direction from the outside there, because this is... Cool, so we just had the Ranger on rocks. Can confirm engine braking's okay. Four-wheel drive selection takes a little while. It's a bit clunky compared to the Shark and the Cannon. Not that this is a comparison, this is just observations. Decent suspension travel, as you'd expect from a Ranger. It's doing the job, but can it make it back up the hill? That's the big question. So far I can definitely say better off-road than the Shark, but I'm going to say the Cannon is a better performer off-road so far. Again, this isn't a comparison. We will bring you that full comparison. We're just at the launch, we're just experiencing it. So we're in two-wheel drive high range now. We've just hit some gravel on the way back from our stop, and we're heading out to Anglesea, which is a fantastic facility where we'll be doing a little bit more four-wheel driving. Just wanted to talk about the on-road experience. So this is not a crazy gravel road, but it's fairly coarse. And this really highlights the benefit of the Ranger being such a good road handling vehicle. It's so dialed in on road. Off-road, probably not class leading, and especially now they haven't put rock mode in this, but I won't go on about that. So steering feels pretty good. Brakes we discussed before, it just felt like they were varnished. So hopefully they're coming a little bit better. We've only got 1200 Ks on this thing. Okay, I'm gonna put my foot down in pure EV mode. I've got 75% battery, which is saying I've got 23 kilometers of range. So it just shows you how not class leading that battery capacity is. And I'm doing 60 Ks an hour. Whew, bit of a speed bump there. Let's see how far we can actually get just on pure battery mode. So at 548 kilometers, it's saying 22 kilometers to go and 70% range. Now fuel wise, you've got your standard, I believe, 75 litre fuel tank. On paper, this thing really doesn't compete with the other two plug-in hybrids, but it is a nicer driving experience, and it is a vehicle that's tuned and designed for Australian conditions, so I absolutely appreciate that. But I'm just wondering if you at home, the end user, is going to see the value in this, because it is the most expensive. It offers the lowest EV range. You can't fast charge it. You can only charge it at home or, you know, very slow charging at public chargers. There's a lot of disadvantages to this Ranger. I'm sort of wondering if I'd just buy a diesel. But anyway, we're talking about the on-road experience, and this is where the Ranger does shine compared to the other vehicles. Maybe not as good as the BYD Shark. I think it is a better vehicle on road than the Cannon. And you'd expect that, because Ranger has always been very, very good when it comes to driving in Australian conditions. We're going to check in a couple of minutes. We're going to see what the range is like. Let's check in say, so 5:48, 22 Ks to go. Let's check in 10 Ks. That's flat to the floor. It's not quick in EV mode at all. Trying to set a bit of a speed record now. I'm at 80. We're trying to hit 100 in pure EV mode, and it's taking its time to get there, I must say. This is not very comfortable at all, especially with the truck right on my rear end on the highway. So we're at 100, and that chewed. So we're still at 548 kilometers. That's dropped it down to 63% or 19 kilometers. So yeah, wow. Another point worth mentioning on the highway is when you're in EV mode, it's obviously so quiet, there's no diesel engine clatter. We're getting a lot of wind noise, particularly it seems like from these rather chunky factory roof racks. It's a little bit intrusive. And again, being a premium product, it's sort of not really what I was expecting. I hate to seem underwhelmed by this vehicle, because again, it's a Ranger. It's not supposed to be overwhelming. It's just supposed to work. But it doesn't have that razzle-dazzle wow factor of the Shark, and it certainly doesn't have the specs on paper of the Cannon. So I kind of think it's got a bit of a hard job cut out for it, really, as a sales point. But it's also a Ranger, and people are going to buy them. This isn't going to be an accurate test. We will have to revisit this and put it through our own proper dialed-in test. Engine enabled for system performance, so we're not going to be able to do this now, but put it this way, we have dropped down, we have 16 kilometer range, and we have done 6, 7, 8 kilometers. So I think you're getting maybe a best case scenario of around 60 kilometer range from the battery in this vehicle. But if you use it like a hybrid like we are now, it should be handy for some people. For me personally, I have a 75 commute each way, so this range is not going to be enough for me to get to work purely on battery. So in summary, it steers well, it's got some power when the engine's on song. Battery capacity, probably not enough, but I could see it as a compromise to make sure you can package other things. You can only slow charge it, so really this is something you need to charge overnight at home. If you get into a rhythm and a pattern, that's fine. For some people, that might not work. For me, that probably would work. You can plug it into a public charger, but only certain ports, and the BMS in the battery is going to limit how much you can charge. You're not going to get much more than 8 amps in there, which really is quite slow considering the battery I have in my four-wheel drive to charge keep my fridge powered is a 25 amp charger, and that's considered small these days. But anyway, I'm not an engineer. Ford seems to know what they're doing. It's just a different version of a plug-in hybrid compared to what the Chinese manufacturers have brought in. All right, backing a bit more off-roading. So we're at a private facility at Anglesea. We've got a couple of river crossings, some mounds. It's really nothing technical at all, but hopefully we can draw some sort of conclusion. Obviously we're going to revisit this vehicle at a later date on our own test track because we can push a little bit harder. So straight away we're in 4 auto. Pretty much just going to hang there, I think. First obstacle is a little hill climb. Now I'm going to put it into all electric. Let's see what that's like. All electric driving in 4 auto. It's very quiet. That's very nice. You might have issues with hitting kangaroos and things like that, but let's see how much torque it's got. Okay, yeah, it's happy to wheel spin, so that's probably enough torque. Super weird. Like, this is so exciting for everyone being able to try these electric 4-wheel drives in an off-road setting. In saying that, I'm going to put the motor back on. Battery charged by the engine. Got a bit of a drop off here, so I might just pop that into first gear. Hilderston control works pretty well. It's not too grabby, it's not too bitey. You can obviously control the speed by using the cruise control. But again, you've got 10 gears in this car. Low range should be good enough, and I just can't help but think that's going to overheat brakes. So away we go in 4 auto. I might even try to put it in low range at some point. Coming into a little bit of mud here, so this is a really good test for 4 auto. I'm going to take the high road here because we'll see if we can slip on down. No, she's all good. These ones are equipped with all-terrain tyres, general grabbers. They don't appear to be a light truck tyre, but they are a mud snow tyre. Still quite a soft sidewall, but Ford is insisting we use the vehicles with these slightly aggressive rubber. The ride, as you expect from an unladen ute, it's pretty choppy, but it's good. It's still good. Ranger has always been good. We've got a little bit more weight in these vehicles with the batteries, which I thought before they're actually lighter, but they're not. They have got a little bit more weight. No problems at all. These auto mode's great. It's not just good for off-road, it's really good on-road too, so helps in slippery conditions. When you live in mountain areas like I do. Got another little climb. Again, this track's not really testing anything. I can't wait to do a proper off-road test with these vehicles and really push it. I'll probably put it on the same track we took the Cannon successfully up and the Shark couldn't make it, so that'll be a really good litmus test to see what will work and what won't work. Testing side angles, and that's saying we're on about a 15-degree slope, which is cool. Water crossing time, we got just under 600 mil. Again, this is hard packed, so it's not really testing anything. It's just going to show that the car can go through water. A little bit of bow wave, so obviously it's good to test. Up to 800 mil wading depth, and it's made it through absolutely fine. There's also a bit of a mud section here, but it's just a doughy pit really for showing off, so I'm not going to bother wasting your time with that one. We've spent a lot of time and haven't really got the result we wanted, so we will revisit this vehicle and put it through our own Chasing Cars test, which is a little bit more complicated. Safe to say though, pretty unique technology. It's good to see it flowing on, and if it's something that you're interested in, put the Ranger on your list. Well, it's been a big few days, but we've had our first sample of the 2025 Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid. And what can I say? Well, I'm kind of not that impressed because that's the whole purpose of this car. It's just to jump in and go. It hasn't blown my mind away because that's not what this is about. What I would love to do is put this head to head with the Shark, with the Cannon, so we can once and for all find out which is the best plug-in hybrid ute in Australia. Now I say I'm not impressed, I don't mean that negatively. This is a fantastic vehicle. It's such a Swiss Army knife. It's great on road. It's pretty good off road. It can do a lot of things well for a lot of people. With plug-in hybrid technology, that's only going to expand the range and the capabilities of what this vehicle can do for a lot of people. I mean, like we said before, dual battery systems, pretty much not required anymore. You're going to be able to handle all your camping duties. If you're a tradie, you're going to be able to plug in your tools, power them up. It's going to do a lot of things. We're going to check back in a couple of weeks when we get access to the Shark and the Cannon. And once and for all, we're going to find out which is the best plug-in hybrid in Australia. But thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next adventure.